Hi, this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and this is Friday, August the 10th, and this is going to serve as our chart lesson. I'm getting started a little early today. My son has a football game. They're playing a preseason jamboree, and they have a game at 4 o'clock today, and they're playing out at the stadium, at the university stadium, so they're getting to play in the big boys' house today, so it's going to be exciting for them, and I'm excited to go watch them play. So I'm going to get out of here early today and go watch my son play ball. But anyway, let's go over today's chart lesson. Hopefully you realize today was a trading range. It was fairly clear. Even if you didn't see this, you should have had these lows down here, and then when we started, and remember, this was the lows across here, so if you draw that, you can see this was a pullback to retest that. Remember, if you don't retest it, you're going to come back. So you should have been able to find the highs and the lows across here. And even if you didn't find it before this, you should have definitely found it from that point over. And this one was no secret. This was the low of the day. And then, of course, you had the high of the day up here, which I ended up moving up. And you can see these were the highs from the previous day. And if you come back over here, that's where we found in resistance. So what I want people to understand, I've been getting a lot of notes lately from traders that, saying they're struggling and they're having a hard time, and they can't figure out why they can't get it. But listen, I'm going to tell you this: you're trading against professionals, people that have got years of experience and that are good at this, and you're not going to pick it up overnight. It takes a lot of hard work. It's not something that's easy to do. And can you learn it? Yeah, if you have the skills to learn it. But again, it's not easy to do. And it takes hard work. And most of all, it takes time. What you need to do every day is just come in, trade only on the simulator, sit there, make sure you just take the trades. Just come in and trade every day. Don't worry if you're wrong or right. Don't let it get to you. If you're wrong, just say, hey, I was wrong there, took a hit, and start over, and hope you get the next one right. But at the end of the day, this is the key now, at the end of the day, mark your trades that you took on your chart and go back and study them. Figure out what you did right. Figure out the ones you did wrong, and learn from your mistakes, and then come back and try to correct them the next day. And I promise you, if you do that every single day, you will start to get better. You'll start to notice, the wrong places to enter. You'll start to notice the right places to enter, and you'll get better at it. And so that's the key. There's two keys to really learning this. First of all, you got to have the right strategy, and whether you use our strategy or somebody else's, the main thing is you got to understand how to read a price chart and understand what's going on in front of it. I don't care what indicators you got. I don't care anything else. If you can't read a price chart, if you don't understand what's going on that chart in front of you, and you don't understand why prices are turning, where they're turning, and when they're turning, then you don't understand price action yet, and you're wasting your time. You got a lot more work to do. So the first thing to do is make sure you have to learn how to read a price chart, and that takes a long time. And the way you do that is that you study your chart every day and you watch prices over and over and over. I got thousands of hours of sitting in front of this thing watching prices do this right here. Go up and down, up and down, up and down. So think about that, what an advantage that is to somebody that's been trading for even 6 months or a year. It's a huge advantage for me because I watch prices move over and over and over, and that's really what it takes. If you're a professional pitcher, the only way you get better with your pitches is to throw pitches over and over and over. You don't pick up a baseball and walk out there tomorrow and strike out the best batters in the Major League Baseball. It doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. It takes years of practice and working on your pitches, learning how to throw a slider, learning how to throw a curveball, and not only that, you got to have the skill to do it. So you may be working on something, you don't really have the skill, and you may never get there. So you got to keep that in mind too. I'm not discouraging anybody, but it's the truth. So anyway, the main thing you got to learn to do is recognize where things are going to happen on the chart, and that's where you're looking to enter. Look at this chart. Where do you see that things are happening? They're happening at the lows, the support, the highs, the resistance, and along the trend lines, even if they're just short-term temporary trend lines. That's where everything's happening. Look up that line. That's where all the reversals happen. I bet you we can get a little trend line right here too. Well, what do you know? Where's everything happening right down through there? Along that line, whether it's on this side or this side. So you got to learn to spot this stuff. But but look at this support here. Look at this resistance right across here. Look at this resistance right across here. This is both resistance and support. Same thing. And a lot of times you'll find that up here. We took off too fast. We barely came back and tested that, and then it was off to the races. But I bet you we'll probably work back down and test it again. And look where we stalled on that move up. Resistance from another high. We got on through to yesterday afternoon, but that's yesterday's high right there, so that's more important than this. And look at there. That's exactly where we found resistance today. So remember that. That's where things happen, and that's where you want to be looking for trades. So as scary as it is to enter right here, this is the first long of the day. That is a scary entry, but that is such a high probability entry because you know prices are pulling back. And let me show you this. It's a measured move. There's leg one. And look at leg two. And, you know, sure, you could enter right here and it could turn and go down and you stop you out. But you can't worry about that. You got to worry to say, hey, everybody's thinking long. You almost have to be a contrarian, although I don't like that. You know, I hear that a lot about the market, that you got to have a contrarian view. But I don't necessarily like that, although I think you have to be thinking like that because I don't think this is thinking contrarian. This is trading properly. It's the guys that, you know, so maybe it is contrarian to all the traders that don't know what they're doing. So, you know, maybe that's a accurate description. I don't know. But entering right here is not contrarian to me. That's the right thing to do. That's the ideal trade. And look, if you enter down here, look what happened. You caught the low of the day. And so then you're coming back up here and you break out and you enter right here. I didn't mark this trade because you need a better trade than this. It's too bullish up through there, so you wait for the next one and maybe you enter in here. But if you'd entered here, that was an easy move back. Real easy move back. And I'll be honest, I did trade right there. I'm not marking it, and I hate to tell you that because somebody will be trying to do that next. But I did take a trade right here. I took a short, and it scared me because it turned down and went back up. But I just held tight, and it came on down. It was an easy trade. I had to sit it out a minute. But I know when you get that far away from the EMA and get overlap, I know what happens. It's not very long, and I know when you break out of something like this, it's not long. The prices come back and test it. And do I get it wrong? Yeah. If I'd have sold this one right here, what would have happened? I would have got stopped out when it went higher because I would have been wrong. But I also knew not to go short here. It's too late in the afternoon, but we're making higher lows and higher highs up through here. Even though we're holding here, look how this high is higher than that one. And this high you might could say is lower than that, but it's still higher than that one or that one. And then this high, or this low, rather I should be saying, this low is higher than that low. And then this low is higher than that low. And that's not a good sign to be going short. And, you know, even if you'd have had your order there, it never got filled. So, you know, I don't like the contrarian idea, but the thing is, all the good stuff is going to happen at these important places. And even if you didn't find that middle one, you should have had the high and the low here, and you should have been expecting another one up here somewhere. But let me show you something. And I show you this all the time. And here's your first trading range. That was your range right there for the most part. That's where most of your lows are, most of your highs are across there. Now, if you measure that and drag that up, wow, look at there. Doesn't surprise me, but it probably will surprise some of you. But I show that all the time. You know, if you get one range and prices break out, the odds are they're going to find resistance about the same distance. It's you know, the market moves in twos, and it's amazing. Don't ask me why this leg is over here is going to be just like that one. I don't know. I just know it does it. And I show it to people all the time, and people are amazed that even after I show them, they still can't find it or they still don't trust it. I tell people about these breakouts all the time. They still don't trust them, and they watch them go, and they see all this bearishness, and instead of getting long, they start selling down here. And guess what? They sell the very low, and then prices bounce, and they get fooled. And now once we got right in here, this is really, really tricky. But again, notice what happened. Prices, we had the stem here, and we had prices broke lower and turned and closed way up here. That's a great place to go long. And you know, you didn't probably get scalped out before it pulled back again, but you don't know if it's going to pull back again or not. And you just keep your stop down here, and you just hope, you know, hope that it's, you know, you got to trust the setup and hope that you're going to get it right, and you do. And if you don't, you're stopped out. But instead of entering down here and hoping you get it right, people want to wait till it starts getting up in here and then entering, because now they feel good because now it's moving. But what happens? All that is people chase the market up, and then they get sucked in, and then look what happens. It starts pulling back, and then they get scared and they exit, and then what happens? It goes higher again. So just wait till it pulls back and then enter. If it just keeps going like this one right here, kept going, of course it pulled back right here and gave you a chance to get in. So just sit tight. But you had another second entry long right here, and then we had this double bottom. We had another higher low and a big reversal bar right off the former support. That's a good sign. You got to figure prices are going to at least here, and hey, we may get lucky and they go to here. But guess what? We got lucky and they went all the way to here. So this is where you want to enter, right here. And then this, we got a failed second entry short here. Look at this. Prices pulled back, shot higher, and it looked like it was going to be a failed second entry long, but we pulled back again and trapped everybody short and then reversed. So you definitely want to go long right there, because after a move like that, you figure you're probably going to get another one. Do we get another move like that? No, but we got an easy scalp. So whenever you get a trap like that, you got to be thinking that. But when this move didn't go very much higher after this one went so far, then you got to say, hey, something's suspect here. And we tried to go higher. So you don't want to be going long right here, especially with all this overlap and all these overlapping bars, all these dojis. And look what happened. It moved up and trapped everybody and turned down. So then you got a second entry short, or a failed second entry long that you can go short. And you figure, where do you figure prices are going to go to at least? You figure they're going to go to here. And if you get lucky, they might go all the way to here. And look where they went to, all the way down to here. Then you should have been thinking long. After a move like that, it's scary to go long down here. I know it. And, you know, but guess what? It turned and went straight back to the high again. Just what you would expect to do. So don't let it scare you. I know it's scary, but if you take it a few times and you see that it works and you learn to trust it, so just sim trade it until you learn to trust it. And then look at right here. Now we got you think we're going lower. You could have gone short right here, actually. There was a short set up, but I didn't mark it because we kind of had this, well, we had this line coming up through here. But we also, you could have been looking at it like this too. And so it was just a little risky going short yet, because you don't know that we might not break. You know, you got this big leg here, and I was looking for a possible leg like that, and I probably just should have shorted it and trusted it, but I didn't. And you can see that's exactly where this found resistance on that measured leg. You measure that leg right there. Let me get it right again. And you drag it over here. And that's a perfect, I mean, that's to the tick, perfect measured move. Of course, it didn't pull back very much. And you never really got a good setup, unless you just sold it blindly. You probably wouldn't have got out of that trade. So you know, you don't want to be counter trend trading a lot. And that's, you know, and here we're still making higher highs and higher lows. But when we got to that double top, made a double top, that's worth the entry. And this one probably, like I said, probably should have taken it, but I didn't take it. And I wish I had them now, but looking back on it, we bounced right here off of that again. And so, you know, now you're thinking we're in this range again, and you go long. And you're thinking we're going to at least go back to here, and maybe we'll get lucky and go to here. And guess what happened? We went to here, pulled back, I exited, and then we took off and went higher again. So, again, I should have stayed with it. but my runner got stopped out there, and I actually did hold a runner there, and it got stopped out, which, I always say, this is one thing I'll say too. If you like to hold runners, it's probably better to hold them always, or either scalp out all the time, because if you try and guess and pick and guess, you'll get it wrong. I get it wrong every single time. I don't know, like here, I exited and it still went higher. Then you don't exit and it pulls back and takes you out. So you never know what the market's going to do. That's just it. So you play the percentages, and you do the same thing every time, and then the odds will work in your favor over the long run. And but anyway, you need to get some runners occasionally. So really, the best bet is, if you're doing the scalp and run, is to always hold your runner, and don't try to guess what the market's going to do, because most of the time you'll guess it wrong. And I don't know why your emotions start messing with you, and just things happen. And but hopefully you see why we wanted to take all those trades today. We were basically buying support, buying the trend, or selling resistance. And that's all we did all day long. We waited till it got to these important places, and that's when we bought or sold. And if you do that, you're going to be a whole lot better off, and your account's going to be have a lot more money in it, and at the very least, you're not going to be taking as much money out of your account. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. I want to get to my son's game today. I hope you had a good trading week. For those guys that are down a little bit and been struggling, just remember that this has been a hard market. The market, these kind of moves are, the market doesn't always do this. And, usually it looks like this right here, real tight, choppy, and then all of a sudden you get this huge move and it just catches everybody off guard, including me. Catches me off guard. But anyway, if you're trading properly and you're thinking about getting short up here instead of long, then you catch these things, and it's great to get caught off guard when it's moving in your favor. But when you're on the wrong side, it's not fun at all, and I understand that, and I've been there, and it still happens to me now, but not as often, thank goodness. So I'm going to wrap it up. This is Matt with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. Hope you had a good trading week. Hope you have a better one next week. Hope you have a great weekend. And if you didn't have a good week this week, hang in there and have a better week next week. We'll see you.